Hey, what's up, guys? It's Vastik here. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about five essential maintenance tips for motorcycles for beginners. Now, this video is going to be particularly helpful for people who have just gone into motorcycle maintenance and who are kind of beginners and who want to understand from where they should start. This video will also be helpful for people who are more into general maintenance, who want to do the general maintenance bits themselves, but they kind of rely on the service centers for all the major maintenance like engine oil change, oil filter change, things like that. What you see in front of me is my SF250. I call her Susie. Next one, she's gonna be 1 year old, and I mean, as you can see, she still looks amazing, right? So I have 5 points that I'll be talking about today. In fact, I'll be showing you guys on this SF250. So what I've done is I have kind of created a checklist out of for those points, and what we'll do is, as we'll go through in the video, we'll kind of finish the task and strike it off the checklist. So the first item that I have on my maintenance checklist is, it's pretty obvious actually, it's cleaning and polishing of the bike. The second is about chain maintenance. So the second point is about chain cleaning. After that, we are going to do chain lubrication. The fourth point, we are going to do some greasing on all these pivots and joints and things like that. After that, we are going to do a general checkup on all the consumable components on the bike and the components that kind of wear or wear over time. Things like brake pads, for example. So yeah, let's get started. So the first item in this checklist is cleaning and polishing the bike. So for cleaning, I do not use any kind of soap solution or anything. I just use water and this kind of microfiber glove. For polishing, I use the Shiva all-in-one polish. This is pretty good. So one thing to note is I do not polish any of the painted surface of the bike because I mean, it's in matte finish, and if I polish it, the matte finish is going to ruin. I only polish on these kind of black plastic components, these black plastic parts as you see here. So work on the cleaning and washing bit, and then we kind of strike it off our checklist. Yeah. So we are going to go ahead and polish the plastic parts with this all-in-one polish and this microfiber cloth. So I'm going to be polishing this particular black plastic part, this part on either side, this part on either sides, this little black strip, the switch gears, the mirrors, and yeah, that's about it. So we are done with the polishing bit. Yeah, this is how it looks now. So I think we can strike the cleaning and polishing bit out of our checklist and proceed to the next one. So before we move ahead with chain cleaning, I want to show you guys something. So you see from down below, this bike does not have a center stand. This is not really an issue in general day-to-day use, but especially for kind of chain maintenance, those kind of activities, it poses a problem because without the center stand, I can't really rotate the rear wheel to rotate the chain, and I have to move the bike back and forth, quite a lot to clean and break the chain. This is very tiring, so I did it a couple of times initially, but that was just not working out. So I went on to Google and tried looking for alternatives. The first thing that I kind of came across was something called the G-Roller. It was from Grand Pit Stop. That seemed to be a good solution to this. It basically is a plate on which there are two rollers mounted, and what you do is you kind of put it just behind your rear wheel, and you kind of move the bike back and push the rear wheel on top of that roller, and that kind of enables you to rotate the rear wheel easily. it sounds good on paper. When I used it, it was just ridiculous, and I used it 2 or 3 times, and then I thought that it was actually easier to kind of clean and lead the chain before, like just moving the bike back and forth. That was much easier than this G-roller thing. So I would not recommend that product at all. If you have only a side stand on your bike and are looking for something that will make it easy, make the chain maintenance easy, do not go for that G-roller. So yeah, and that is actually quite expensive. It was over 1,000 for a piece of metal again. So do not go with it. Then I again started looking for something else. After a lot of research, I kind of came across this little product, this little thing. It's called a motor jack. It's exactly what it is. It is a jack for motorcycles. So it opens up like this, and what you do is this part kind of goes below the swing arm, and you just basically put it below the swing arm like this, and just push it, and it will lift your rear of the bike up, and that way your rear wheel will be lifted, and you can essentially move and clean the chain easily. So this costed me around 1,400 rupees. I think it is very expensive for what it offers. I mean, again, it's also a piece of metal, right? A very simple piece of metal, but it is quite convenient, that I give it. It is very easy to, do chain maintenance with this thing. This is what comes from the box. There's this pouch to carry it. There are 2 rubber pads that come with it. One goes below the side stand base. The other one goes at the base of this thing to kind of give a better grip. And then there's a small strap that comes. Yeah, then there's this strap that comes with it, which is basically for resting your front brake. Your bike won't move when it is on the jack. So these are the things that come with it. So now let's go ahead and go with the second point on our list, which is the chain cleaning. So for chain cleaning, I use this Motul MCC one. Now I got it like a year back. It's this big bottle of 400 milliliters, which I got like 8 months back, and it has been working even till now. So that's pretty good, and it's a good product. I am satisfied with it. I actually bought it just off of Amazon, just on the basis of ratings, but it has turned out to be good. For chain lubing, I use this Motul MCC2. This is also pretty good. I mean, I got both of these as a combo, and both of them are pretty good for chain cleaning and for chain lubrication. So we will start with the chain cleaning first. So let me mount the bike on the jack first. Okay guys, so I have parked the bike on a drier surface. There's not much space here though. Push it. And 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to point it towards the chain. We'll point it towards the chain and spray it. We sprayed it for some amount of time, and then I have this chain cleaning brush. Take the dirt and grime off of the chain. So we are going to let it run for a while, and then we are going to go with the third point. So yeah, I mean, once a month I do this kind of maintenance, and I have felt that once a month cleaning and lubing of the chain is actually adequate for me. Suzuki recommends that I should do the chain maintenance once every 500 kilometers. And based on my usage, I mean, that's about the time, 1 month or 500 kilometers. But again, this frequency of maintenance is going to vary from person to person depending on their usage. And another point to note is that although the frequency is going to vary from person to person, The points in this checklist, they are not bike specific. They can be pretty much applied on any bike with some kind of additions on top. But these 5 points that I have told on maintenance, they can be applied on any bike. I think that's about it for the chain cleaning. We will go ahead and do the lubrication. So I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to point towards the chain and spray. Give it, do it for around 15-20 seconds, and that should be good enough. So yeah, the third point, chain lubrication, was actually pretty easy. It was easier because I had this jack with me. I would definitely recommend that, and if it is expensive, it makes the work very convenient, So since we don't have any other options, it is definitely worth spending the money on this little thing. So the second last thing that is there is greasing of the pivots, right? So I think that's about it for the lubrication. We can shut the engine off now. Just hold this little cord here and just pull it in one go, right? So the next item on our checklist is greasing of all the pivots, and for that I use this Shiba liquid grease. There's a spray can, it's a liquid grease and comes in a spray can, and there's this little straw that comes with it. Yeah, so that was about it for the fourth point on our checklist. Pretty short actually. Now we come to the fifth point, and this, as I said, is actually one of the most important maintenance bits. This involves basically checking up on all the wear and tear on the bike to see if anything needs replacement. So what all are we gonna check? Okay, so we will start from the brake pads. You'll see, hope it is visible, it's in pretty good shape. So there you can see that there is quite a good amount of brake pad left on the front side too, so we are good here, right? Next we will kind of go ahead and check the clutch cable, clutch lever play. If you guys don't know what the display is, what I'm talking about, it's basically the amount of slack that you have, and this is actually important to prevent any sort of inadvertent clutch presses. Let's say you're going through potholes or things like that, so this buffer is kind of necessary for that. It is around 1.5 centimeters, I can see, so this seems fine to me. Similarly for accelerator also, this much plays there in my accelerator, that is also fine. Next we'll check is the tire condition. I mean, you can see there's quite a good amount of rubber left on the rear, and so we are good here. Rear brake fluid is full, and it's almost at the full level, so it is quite a lot above the main level. The next thing that is left is checking the engine oil color as well as its level. So this is the wheel chamber for checking the engine. And so yeah, there we go. So I hope you guys can see it. I mean, the color you guys won't be able to see, it's a bit darker because of the flash. The level is also fine, you can see. Yeah, the last thing that I believe is left to check up on is there are two things actually. The first is the clutch cable. We'll check how the clutch cable is. So you can see there's lots of grease on the cable, and that's a good thing actually, because most of the times clutch cable actually breaks from these edges because of the friction between the cable and the edge of this little lever. So if the chain looks fine from the ends, it will be fine from the in between also. This is where it ends on this side, and you can see it looks pretty damn good from this side too. The lubrication is a bit less, but yeah, the chain, the cable looks fine. Last bit is checking the chain slack. This is also very important. So this is the lowest part of the chain and this is the highest. There's around, I would say it is around 2 centimeters slack that I see, and I believe that is within the normal slack range. So everything seems to be in order. We have completed all the points in our checklist, and the bike looks pretty neat now, right? Hey guys, so these are the 5 essential motorcycle maintenance tips that I wanted to show you guys. If you are a beginner, these 5 things are the bits that you can start with. These will definitely help you out. Before closing this video, I will also tell you guys 3 things that I kind of do every time I take my bike out. So this is kind of like an everyday checklist before I take the bike out. So there are 3 things. The first were actually pretty straightforward. Once I sit on the bike and I start it, Motolytical. Yeah, I've just started. Yeah. So what I was saying, as soon as I sit on the bike, the first thing that I kind of check for is the telltale lights. So anything odd that you will see, just watch out for it. I mean, I can see the ABS light is on, but that kind of goes away at around 5 kilometers per hour. So nothing seems odd, the cluster seems all fine. That is the first thing. The second thing that I kind of check for is when I sit on the bike, I check for the tires, if they are well and not punctured or anything. I hope you can see they all look fine. The third thing, and this is actually the most important, I'd say, is especially during a cold start, when I started the bike, I never rev it hard. At least for the first 30 seconds I keep it idle, and then after that for the next kind of 5 minutes I keep the RPM kind of low. This is very important, especially for cold starts. If you don't know about cold start, what it means is basically if you have, let's say, kept the bike parked for let's say 5-6 hours and the engine has gone cold and then you kind of start it, what that happens in that scenario is because of the long parking duration, the oil in the engine gets settled at the bottom of the engine, and when you kind of start it, it takes a bit of time for the oil get circulated again. And during that time, when the oil is not properly circulated, if you rev the engine harder, it is going to lead to a lot of wear and tear inside. So it is always recommended to let the engine get to its working temperature, and then you kind of extract the full performance out of the bike. Okay, so there's one fun fact that just came to my mind. So if you guys have ever bought a can of engine oil, you would see that there's a grade written on it, something like, let's say, 10W40. Have you ever wondered what that is? So the 10W40, the 10 and 40 for example, in that grade, what they represent is the engine oil's viscosity at 0 degrees and 100 degrees centigrade. The higher the number, the higher the viscosity is. This means that the engine oil is made to become more viscous as the temperature increases. I hope you guys can establish a link between the third point that I just gave in the pre-start checklist and what I'm saying now. So you see, when the engine is cold and the temperature of the engine is cold, the oil is settled at the bottom, and because of the colder temperature, because of the engine oil's characteristic, the viscosity is very less. So when you kind of start the bike, it's very easy for the engine oil to kind of start getting circulated inside the engine. And as the engine temperature increases, the viscosity of the oil increases, and that in turn results in better hold of the engine oil on the engine, and it doesn't easily get settled in the engine. So that is why it is very important to let the engine go to its working temperature, especially during cold starts, before you can kind of extract its full performance. On usual starts, when you park the bike for, let's say, 1 hour, then starting it again is no big deal, because the oil temperature is still high, it's still highly viscous, and it is still holding on to the engine pretty well, and you don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I mean, I hope you found this fact interesting. So yeah, that was about it for this video, guys. I hope you like this video, and if you like this video, please do not forget to hit that like button. If you want to see more of these videos in the future, do consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.